Hello, and I'm Ethan. And in this video, we are going to talk about what is autism and what the school has done to compromise with autism. So what's autism? It's basically I don't like to say this, but it's a spectrum. No, not a spectrum. It's a disorder that involves. Sorry. There we go. It's a spectrum that involves the brain with its development at an early stage in life, I think. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. But, sorry. It's a developmental disorder that involves some parts of the brain, and that's basically all I know. But what I perceive it as is that it's like a tree, not a spectrum. It's like a tree. And I'm going to describe it to you as what I'm thinking. So, a tree has roots and branches and leaves and all that stuff. Well, then you're normal if you have everything out of the tree. You're completely normal if you have everything. But if you're missing a few parts, like it broke off in a storm, like a branch or something, then you might have a disability. And whether that might be a root or leaf, or maybe even severe at a branch, that may differ on how high functioning you are, depending on what the thing is that the tree lost. If that makes sense, then if that makes sense, then thank you for seeing my point of view. But really, autism for me is like a barrier that I can't really speak like I'm speaking now, but I can't speak in full sentences smoothly enough that it's so hard. I keep checking if what I'm going to say will be alright, and what I'm going to say is going to be correct in my head about 2 or 3 times before I actually do say it. And that's why I keep stuttering all the time, so please forgive me if that's an issue for you. But that's basically what autism is for me. Now, should everyone with autism have an IEP? Now, this could go on with the debate, but I am going to disagree with that statement because for the 30% of autistic people that are high functioning and the other 70% that don't really get an IQ score that's above, I think, 70%. I've done a little bit of research, so mind me. 70. That do they really need an IEP? Like, I'm in that 30% category. Like, all I'm struggling with now is just speech and some other issues. Not really major issues, but small ones. And so, like, I guess you could say I need an IEP for speech, but I know what to do. It's just my disability is holding me back. So no matter how much you educate me on speech, I'm always gonna stutter because that's just my disability. Even though I know all the different situations and all the different ways that we speak, good or bad or neutral to one another, that I have to process that all through my head and recheck and keep on checking it before I actually do say something. So that will never change in me, but with all that education, I will get very quickly, but I just can't. I repeat, I can't put it into my head and then say a sentence like, I don't know, like, you know what I mean, right? Hopefully you do. Okay. So, other than that, if that's your disability, then I would recommend that you should not have an IEP unless you really insist that you want one. Because when I was in school, I did not want an IEP. I hated it. I didn't want an IEP for the life of me. I kept trying to get re-evaluated, but that didn't work, unfortunately. Just mainly because of my speech. So, what do I go from here then? Well, I have basically two options: finish school or just. No, I can't leave school, but two options: finish school with a diploma or finish school and not get a diploma and carry on with a secondary plan for transition, I guess. So, there we go. IEP. I'm not so fond of it. If you are, that's great. Now, on the other side of the idea that autism is like a tree, if you lost most of your parts and you can barely speak, and even if you can speak, but your head just goes like, what was that, what she was just talking about, then I would recommend an IEP that you can get the help that you need at school. Okay? So basically, an IEP at school is like it literally just stands for an independent education plan. So, how to interpret that? I'm just going to give you a scenario. You're at school, right? And you, assuming you have autism, not that you do have autism, but assuming that you do, in this scenario, that you're in math class and you are talking about an algebraic expression, like something like, what do I use? 2 to the third power times, what next? 1/4? Yeah, let's do 1/4. And then equals x plus 4. Let's do that. So I could do that down on paper, I'm pretty sure, and figure out what x is. But in my head, I could do that on paper. But back to the example. You're in school and you just saw that equation, and you're going like, how on earth do I solve this problem? I don't understand what I'm doing. I don't understand what to do with x. Or what is the first step of doing an algebraic expression is. Equation, yeah, not expression. But you're wondering what's the first step. And that's where the help would come in, where you might be taken off to the side and the para might, well, I don't know, they do a lot of different things, but if they have a para, then he or her can go over it with you to make sure you understand it yourself and that you know all the different depths of the how to solve an algebraic equation. I think even that far in math, I don't know if you are. Even if you're not, he or her will show you how to multiply or divide, and will add or subtract big or small numbers, and I'll show you how to add negative numbers as well in math, and not even have to do with math even. Para can also be in literature and English as well, but I'm more familiar with math because that's more of my strong point, other than English and literature. So that's why I took this example instead, because I more know of it. But if you have an IEP and are looking to get rid of it, then you have to get reevaluated. I don't know if I said that word correctly, but if you want to get reevaluated, you pretty much have to prove to them that you could do the simple task. Not even simple task, but the reason why I didn't get reevaluated, because even though I tried, they saw that I had difficulty in speech, and that was basically it. And a few other things that caught their attention. So if you can eliminate that, then I say you're pretty much good to go on being a normal kid or adult, whatever you want to be, okay? That leads me to my third topic, the para, and are they good or bad? Now, you just saw me talk about the para and how they were helping talk about math, right? Or English, or whatever topic you want to put in that scenario. But for the higher functioning people like us, which I could do much more than you think, believe me. But for the higher functioning people, a para might be underappreciated, I would say. And then, yeah, I know how to do the stuff, and you keep reminding me how to do it. And for me, it kind of kept getting annoying, where I wanted this to stop, but I don't know if that's you or not. But that is basically it on how I perceive it. But again, if you're lower functioning, and if you have a para, and if you two are friends, or not really friends, but you know, she likes you anyway, and you like her, then I wouldn't recommend getting rid of her. I'll recommend keeping her because she would definitely help you in school and all of the assignments that are hard, like writing an essay. If you don't really know how to write an essay, you can get help by writing an essay with a para for literature or English, or with a subject in math which you don't really get. You could also get help with that. But there's a but. They can only do so much, because they can't help you on tests, I know that for sure. Or if they do, I would recommend you talk to them and make sure they don't help you on the test. If they even do, they shouldn't help you on tests, but I don't know. That's where I came from. So, where was I going with this? Okay. There's a but, yeah. There is something about the para that just where I came from didn't really seem necessary. And I don't know if it was me or someone else, but do some parents walk people from place to place? I'm sure they do if they need help, but that was not me. But if you are being walked from place to place, and if you know where you're going, please speak up and ask them to not follow you around wherever you go. so you can be as normal as possible, where I try to be. And then they can just help you on those difficult situations in school. That should be quite a deal there if you are in those shoes. Okay. Now, the fourth topic is special ed good or bad? Now, how I decide this, well, I know. It has to, depending on how much things you've lost or gained, okay? Like, lost as in terms of you not being able to, like, kids that are not able to, no, I shouldn't say that. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna say that. But, okay. Do the stuff that otherwise normal people would do. So, about, okay. Sorry. Just lost my thought. So, about with, no, not autism, but the special ed being good or bad. It's most likely it's gonna be good for most people that are below the 70% line. But for us that are above the 70% line, it is a complete different and turnaround in what we think. And maybe even the 15% line, I don't know. There's a way that we think that we might get embarrassed by being in a special ed class or having a pair up with you all the time. But again, you have to speak up. So, in this video, we were going to talk about what ways the school district had to, no, not had, the school district had to what was the word? Not cooperate. Was it cooperate? No, it was I should know this. I'm just gonna say cooperate because that's what I have in my head right now. Okay? Cooperate with autism. So, how they've been doing it is that they have special ed classes, and you go to a number of them where it's what you need. And where I came from is that they also had a specialized math class, and I don't know about a literature class as well because I was not there. Maybe they do, but they do help you with reading and writing. And for the math class, mine was pretty decent, but depending on what class you are in, it will be as simple as adding or subtracting or as complicated as getting into the first steps of algebra. Depending on that range, that'll be fine, okay? So, now that you know what the classes are kind of like briefly, like of course there's a para in each class because it's full of, yeah, whatever, okay. So, where do I go from here? Good or bad, especially good or bad? I say it's good, but again, I don't really need it. I didn't really need it for educating myself in math or English. I just could have done that myself out what the other kids were, but that was just did not happen. But for the majority of people that are autistic, it's good. I think that the school had put aside money for them to learn and to catch up with the other peers. Now we're going to go on to our last topic. People with autism aren't always bad at school. Now, you heard me talk about the 30%, right? And the 70%. Well, that's where I'm getting at here in this video and this last topic. Now, the ones that are about like 70% might struggle in school a bit. Not a lot. Maybe like below 40% might be a lot. But the 70%, they might struggle, but they might not. It just depends on what their disability is. So, they might have a parent or they might not. Again, just depends. And for the other 30%, which are above and might be gifted in some ways, I'm going to go through that in another video between gifted and being autistic, but you might be gifted or being autistic or both, but either or. You might not need the extra help in school, even though you get it anyway. So, moving forward into college, that if you did have an IEP, then you could transition that into college by advocating by yourself. So you have an option here whether to get help or not in college. So that was a relief. Maybe I want help, maybe I don't. But that's not this video. This video is about school and IEP. Okay. Okay. Stop laughing. I'm talking to myself. Sorry. Okay. So, you all know that people with autism aren't always bad at school, right? So, how do I describe this if you don't believe me? Well, watch my channel and I'll post things that I dealt with and I'm dealing with now that might prove you otherwise. And this video is getting about 25 minutes long. It's 23 right now, but I'm gonna go for 25. So if you have any situations that I did not talk about in this video, please leave it down in the comments. I would greatly appreciate it. Even though this is my second video of doing this, I'm gonna learn just like you are gonna learn from me, hopefully, what autism is and how I am dealing with it at the present day. So, if you like this video, please subscribe and peace.